My parents stole my hard-earned diploma to rewrite their golden son's name, so I exposed their fraud in a way that turned their entire plan back on them before they even saw it coming, forcing their downfall. I'm 16 male, but honestly I feel like I've been 40 since I was 12. My family has this whole hierarchy system where the golden child, my older brother Ethan, 22 male, gets treated like royalty, even though he's never done a single useful thing in his life. Meanwhile, I'm the default punching bag, the spare part, the "oh yeah, we have another kid" one. My parents, especially my mom, walk around like they're owed some kind of lifelong debt just for existing. You'd think raising your own kids was some kind of charity work with how often she throws it in my face. I fed you, I clothed you, so yeah, cool. You also guilt-trip me for breathing too loud and act like anything I do for myself is an attack on the family. My dad isn't even in the picture anymore, but when he was, he mostly nodded and stared at his phone like the TV was talking to him personally. Growing up, it was always clear who mattered. My brother got second chances like they were coupons, flunked a grade, he's just adjusting, skipped school. He's going through stuff, stole money from mom's purse. Don't be so hard on him, he's sensitive. Meanwhile, I lose a charger and suddenly I'm irresponsible and ungrateful. I once got grounded for getting a B in math while my brother dropped out of high school and got a cake on his birthday that said, "You'll figure it out." The older siblings, my sisters, 26 and 28 females, aren't much better. They've always seen me as the little tool they can use when it's convenient. Carry boxes, fix the Wi-Fi, babysit their kids, whatever. But the second I say no, suddenly I'm selfish and never contribute. I could win the lottery, and they'd say, "Well, your brother needs it more." So yeah, that's the background noise of my life, just constant reminders that I'm at the bottom of the family food chain. I keep my head down, do my thing, and recently I dropped out of high school. Not because I'm lazy, but because the whole environment at home and school was just trash. But even then I didn't give up. I've been grinding toward my GED like my life depends on it. Because in this house, it kind of does. And just when I thought I was finally getting a little piece of something for myself, I got hit with this ridiculous request. Apparently my brother, who's done absolutely nothing except rotate between couches and jobs that pay him in snacks, is ready to join the workforce. But oh no, he doesn't have a diploma. Who would have guessed that dropping out and doing nothing for years would come back to bite him? So what's the plan? Do they encourage him to study for his GED like I did? Maybe get a tutor or even just try? Nope, of course not. The plan is to have me, the unpaid family tech guy, scan my older sister's high school diploma and Photoshop it into a magical piece of fiction where my brother's name is suddenly printed on it like he actually earned it. I thought they were joking, I really did, but they weren't. They came at me with this like it was a perfectly logical thing to do. "Hey, you're good with computers, right?" "Yeah, and I know how to Google how to make a fake diploma, but that doesn't mean I want the FBI showing up at my door because I helped Chad Freeloader pretend he graduated." I said no immediately, told them it was illegal and I wanted nothing to do with it. You'd think that would have ended the conversation, but nah. One of my sisters fired back with, "Didn't you torrent Photoshop like that was some kind of mic drop? Like downloading software for free is the same thing as faking government documents for employment." I told her, "Okay, so if I ever jaywalk, I'm not allowed to criticize murder now." She rolled her eyes and said I was being dramatic. Meanwhile, they were all standing there, 4 against 1, like this was an intervention. Then my mom hit me with the ultimate manipulative card, "Do it for me." Like, what does that even mean? I'm supposed to risk legal trouble so you can keep pretending your favorite kid isn't a walking L. I said, "Why can't he just get his GED like I'm doing?" And one of my sisters goes, "He's not mentally developed like you, he got dropped as a baby." Yeah, that was the excuse. The same guy who has no problem lying, stealing, and somehow always knowing how to roll a joint perfectly. Super underdeveloped, can't study, but can hustle food stamps like it's an Olympic sport. To be clear, I don't even like the guy. Never have. He lies constantly, used to steal from me weekly, once took my earbuds and tried to convince me I lost them even though they were literally in his pocket. And just last week, he took our mom's credit card when she wasn't looking. But they still treat him like he's a misunderstood genius. Then one of my sisters had the nerve to say, "Well, he took you to your GED test. Yeah, using our mom's car with our mom in the passenger seat, with gas our mom paid for. And he cursed at her when she asked him to stop at more than one place afterward. But yeah, total hero behavior." Other favors they bring up. One time he bought me a sandwich using his food stamps. Like that was some life-changing event. I think he drove me to a friend's house once too, just so he could use the car after and go joyriding. And through all of this, I'm still the one being called selfish, still the one being told I never help out. Never mind that I'm the only one trying to actually get out of this cycle of nonsense. I don't have the luxury of being the golden child, I don't get freebies and excuses, I get guilt and expectations. So yeah, that's where this all started. Just another day of being the least favorite while my burnout brother gets treated like he's a misunderstood prodigy. And now I'm the villain for not wanting to commit fraud on his behalf. If this is what being part of a family looks like, I must have missed the part where it was supposed to benefit me too. That whole Photoshop mess had me ready to launch myself into orbit. I thought it couldn't get worse. But I should have known better. In my house, rock bottom has a trapdoor. A month before that, my brother and I got into this massive fight, like full-on swinging, shoving, yelling type stuff, not the usual sibling bickering. This one was personal, and for the record, I didn't start it, I never do. But the second I stop staying quiet, I'm suddenly the aggressive one. It started with him stealing my headphones again. I walked into his room, door wide open of course, and there they were, chilling on his bed like they paid rent. I called him out, and he didn't even deny it, just smirked and said, "You left them out, I figured you weren't using them." That right there tells you what kind of logic this dude runs on. Like anything I own is actually up for grabs unless I physically tape it to my body. I told him to give them back, he told me to get over it. I told him to stop touching my stuff, he laughed in my face. I don't know what flipped in me, but I snapped. I shoved him, he shoved back, I swung, he swung harder. Before I knew it, we were throwing hands in the hallway like some low-budget MMA fight. Only problem, he's 22, built like a refrigerator, and I'm still 16 with bony elbows and GED flashcards in my pocket. So I bolted to the kitchen, grabbed the nearest thing I could find, turned out to be a steak knife, and pointed it at him. Not because I planned on using it, I just needed something, anything, to even the playing field. And then, like the absolute psycho he is, he takes a step forward and says, "Dead serious, you better put that down, before I mess you up so bad you'll wish you weren't born." Word for word, like he was trying out some tough guy movie line but forgot he was talking to his little brother. It wasn't just trash talk. The way he said it, calm, low, eyes locked on mine. It was like he genuinely meant it. Like he wanted to scare me just because he could. Froze just long enough for my mom and sisters to finally come running in. And you'd think maybe, finally, someone would treat him like the ticking time bomb he is, but nope. Guess who they yelled at? Spoiler, not him. "Put the knife down. What is wrong with you? You're going to hurt someone. This is why we can't trust you with anything." Like bro, he just threatened me with something straight out of prison slang, and I'm the one getting screamed at. I was holding the knife in self-defense. I didn't even move toward him with it. But that didn't matter because in this house, if the golden child's involved, he's automatically the victim, always. They didn't say a single word to him, not one. My mom even pulled him aside after and asked if he was okay. Not a peep about what he said to me, nothing about the fact that he steals constantly, lies for fun, and probably can't go 1 week without someone threatening to beat him up for being annoying. You know what they told me after? "You need to apologize." You, as in singular. So let me get this straight, he steals from me, throws punches, drops threats like he's auditioning for prison yard status, and I have to say, sorry, cool. That whole week I kept to myself, no talking unless I had to. I stayed in my room, nose in my books, pushing through GED prep like my life depended on it, because in a way it kind of did. I figured after all that, maybe they'd finally lay off, maybe they'd realize I'm not the one wrecking this house every other day. Yeah, nope. Barely 2 weeks later, the Photoshop circus kicks off again, like the knife fight never even happened, like I didn't just have to defend myself from their precious burnout golden boy. I remember sitting at the kitchen table trying to review test dates when one of my sisters just dropped it casually, like she was asking me to pass the salt. "So, you're going to help us with the diploma thing?" I looked at her like she had 2 heads. "You serious right now?" "I've already said no." She goes, "It's not a big deal, we just need you to do this one thing, it's for your brother, you know he's trying." Trying what? Trying to get me arrested? My mom popped in too, adding her usual guilt seasoning. "He's not like you, you're strong, he's fragile. This is your chance to help him." Yeah, help the same guy who threatened me in front of all of you, the same guy who made my life miserable growing up, who got away with everything because the bar for him was basically underground. And now I'm the one who's supposed to help him? Nah. I walked off without saying a word, didn't even bother trying to explain myself anymore. You can't reason with people who already decided you're the villain in their story. But they didn't stop. Every couple of days one of them would bring it back up again, like they were just going to wear me down over time. And maybe they would have. Not because I care about him, but because I was getting real tired of being the house's official punching bag and tech support. I wasn't going to do it, but I knew they'd keep coming. And if there's one thing this family's good at, it's never letting go of a bad idea. So after all that chaos, knife fight, threats, everyone acting like I am public enemy number one, I finally got a small win. I passed my GED. It wasn't easy. No support, no one quizzing me, no one offering help, not even a good luck. I was literally printing practice tests at the library while my brother was home arguing with my mom over why he couldn't do chores because his back was sore from carrying the family. Yeah, real athlete right there. When my GED certificate came in the mail, I opened it alone in the bathroom. Not because I was emotional, but because I didn't trust anyone not to spill something on it. It had my name printed clean in the middle. For a second I felt legit, like maybe I wasn't a total waste of space like they treat me. Anyway, that moment lasted about 5 seconds because later that day I walked into the kitchen and found my mom holding my GED like it was a napkin. No envelope, no congrats, just her standing there flipping it over like she was checking it for coupons. "You can make another one of these, right?" she said. I blinked. "What? For your brother?" she said, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "He has a job interview." Yet, I didn't even know how to respond at first. Not even a "wow, you passed," just straight to make another one. Like my GED was just a base model, and they needed a clone for the very important person. Apparently Golden Boy decided he wants to work at the airport now. No clue doing what, probably sweeping floors or pushing luggage carts, assuming he even shows up. But they asked him to bring a GED. So naturally the family decided I should solve the problem again. I told her, "You're seriously asking me to fake a document?" She gave me that look. You know the one, the "don't question me, I'm your mother" face. "You already have one," she said. "Just change the name, it's easy. Then you do it. I don't know how to use the computer stuff. That's your job, right?" Because raising kids doesn't include learning how not to break the law. Apparently I'm not the youngest child. I'm the unpaid family tech criminal. Then the sister showed up like they were summoned telepathically. Same energy too. "Why are you making this difficult? He's trying to turn his life around. It's just one thing." My mom crossed her arms and added, "You live in this house, don't you?" Ah, there it is, the classic "you exist, so you owe us" argument. "You're eating our food, using our lights," she said, like I was some stranger squatting in the attic. "We do everything for you. What do you do for this family?" I actually laughed. Couldn't help it. I said, "You want a list?" Because last I checked, I'm the only one in this house doing anything to not end up a complete failure. Wrong answer. One sister snapped, "He gave you a ride, remember? You owe him." "You mean when Mom was literally in the car too, when she paid for gas and told him where to go?" They all just blinked like I spoke another language. Then another sister jumped in with, "He doesn't have what you have. He's not smart like you. You should help him." I was about to lose it. The dude barely knows how to spell his own email, lies constantly, steals anything not nailed down, and they're telling me I should feel bad because he's not blessed with brain cells. Mom wasn't even pretending to listen anymore. She just muttered ungrateful under her breath and walked off. And I swear to you, they acted like I was the selfish one for not wanting to give up the one thing I worked for to help the same guy who once stole my birthday money, and said it must have fallen into his pocket. That whole day was just round after round of pressure. They'd leave me alone for 30 minutes, come back, leave again, come back with new strategies. One sister offered to buy me pizza, another offered me $40, like that was going to erase the part where they're asking me to commit forgery so their favorite dropout could pretend to be functional. At one point they even tried sweet-talking me. One of them sat next to me and said, "We won't ask again after this. Just show us how to use Photoshop, please." "Didn't you all say I don't do anything for this family?" I asked. "Well, now's your chance," she said. I stared at her like she had 3 heads. So now doing something illegal is suddenly the benchmark for being a good family member. Got it. Later that night I found my GED sitting on the printer with a sticky note that had my brother's name and a fake date written in messy handwriting, like they thought I'd just cave and do it without saying anything. Just quietly become the family's personal scam artist. They didn't ask again that night, but I knew it wasn't over. It never is with them. If there's one thing my family's consistent about, it's throwing common sense out the window the second Golden Boy needs a boost. About a week after the whole "let's borrow your GED" mess, things went quiet again. Not peaceful quiet, plotting quiet. The kind where you know someone's cooking up something stupid and you're just waiting for it to hit you in the face. Turns out the next step of the Get Big Bro employed mission was a drug test. Yeah, the airport job for some reason had that as a requirement. Basic, right? Except when you've got a brother who treats his lungs like a trash can, that's kind of a problem. So what do? Do they tell him to stop? Give him time to clean out his system? Get him some detox tea or something normal? Nope. They come to me again. This time my oldest sister corners me in the living room like I'm about to be offered a business deal. "Hey, we need a favor," she says. I don't even say anything, just look at her. I already know it's not going to be normal. She drops it straight. "Can you, pee in a bottle?" I blink. "What?" "For your brother, he needs clean pee for the drug test." Now let me pause right there. I've been asked to do some weird things in this house: dig through the trash to find a receipt, cover for people who didn't come home, pretend the Wi-Fi is broken so someone can dodge online class. But this was new, gross, but also somehow exactly on brand for how far they'll go to enable him. I said, "Absolutely not, that's disgusting. Do it yourself." She rolled her eyes like I'm the unreasonable one. "I can't, I already promised to watch the baby tomorrow." "Okay, and I care because..." I go back to my room thinking that's the end of it. Guess what? It's not. 2 hours later, she's back with my mom this time, and now the plan's expanded. Since I won't contribute, she'll do it. She's just here to let me know, as if I needed an update on the family pee operation. She says it like she's explaining a science fair project. He'll tape it under his... I cut her off. I don't need details. "You're my mom," I say, and of course she adds her wisdom. "You could have helped. But you always have to be difficult." Ah, yes, difficult. That's what I am for not wanting to donate body fluids to cover up for someone who refuses to quit smoking long enough to get a basic job. Makes sense. Anyway, the next day Golden Boy gets ready for the drug test. Tight underwear, bottle taped up, looking like a DIY disaster. I stay out of it, not my circus. But here's where it gets real dumb. He chickens out, walks into the place, freaks out, thinks someone will notice, and ends up using his own urine. And guess what? He passes. I couldn't believe it. This dude smokes like it's his second job and somehow still passes, while I once failed a practice test because my internet dropped for 2 minutes. That's my life. He comes home all proud, like he pulled off some impossible mission. They're clapping, praising him like he just came back from war. No one questions how he passed. No one wonders if maybe the test wasn't that strict. All that matters is that he's still on track to land the job. And that's when part 2 of the scam comes back. Now that the drug test is out of the way, they circle back to the GED. He needs to show it physically. The airport HR wants to see the actual certificate. Guess who they come to? Yep, again, same team as last time. Mom, the sisters, and Golden Boy waiting awkwardly in the hallway like a very important person with no plan. "We just need something basic," my mom says, holding out a random piece of paper like it's supposed to be my template. I ask, "Didn't we already go through this? You could have done it by now if you weren't so stubborn," she snaps. This time she's not playing the gentle card, she's straight up annoyed, like it's my fault he's unqualified and lying to employers. "He's finally trying," she says. "Why are you always the one stopping him?" Stopping him? What was I supposed to do? Buy him a diploma kit off Etsy and throw him a graduation party? They actually stood in my room and argued about fonts. One sister wanted it in script, another thought Times New Roman looked more authentic. Meanwhile, I'm standing there like, "Do y'all hear yourselves?" They offer money again, pizza, food, stuff they know I like. Even my brother tried to act like he deserved it. "It's not a big deal," he said. "They just need to see something. Then show them the truth." He laughed, like really laughed. They don't care about the truth, they just want paper. And that right there sums up everything wrong with this family. Eventually, I just walked out. Didn't yell, didn't argue, just left. But I knew again that it wasn't really over. Because if this family is good at anything, it's turning a lie into a group project. So I took my GED, zipped it into my bag, and brought it to the library every day like it was a passport in a spy movie. I wasn't going to leave it at home for them to accidentally borrow while I was sleeping. I didn't know how they'd fake something, but I knew they'd try. And then a few days later, Golden Boy came home acting like he'd just been hired by NASA. "I got the job," he announced, puffing his chest like he'd just climbed Everest. "Start Monday." I was mid-toast bite when he said it and almost choked. The room exploded. Mom clapped like she was watching a wedding. One sister screamed. The other said, "See, it worked out." And my third sister, the one who pretends to be the voice of reason, just smiled like she orchestrated the whole plan. Me? I sat there staring at my toast like it had answers, because I knew they didn't have a GED for him. I didn't make one. I didn't teach them how. I didn't hand them anything. So where did it come from? I asked straight up, "So what did you show them for the GED?" One sister waved me off. "It's handled." Another added, "You didn't want to help, so don't worry about it." Classic. I'm out of the loop, and now it's my fault for not being involved in the forgery. I let it go, kind of, didn't ask again, but it sat in the back of my head like a fly you can't swat. Every time someone mentioned his job, it buzzed a little louder. Training week came and Golden Boy suddenly thought he was a working man. Started setting alarms, bragging about morning discipline, calling basic stuff grind culture. "I'm not like other guys," he said at one point. "I'm just built different." Built different? Bro, you quit GD prep after 2 days because the font was boring. Anyway, for a week he went to training, wore the same hoodie every day, came home exhausted like he was doing heart surgery. They're lucky to have me. Most of the people there are idiots. I just nodded, because what else do you say to a dude who once burned frozen pizza twice in one day? Then came day one. Real work, no more training videos and coffee breaks. He came home angry. "Some guy told me to move cones," he snapped. "Like I'm some grunt." "Yes, that's what you were hired to do. Welcome to entry-level work, my guy." Day two he was gone by noon. Apparently someone asked him to clock in 10 minutes early and help restock something. He said they were being power trippy and walked out. I didn't even blink. Of course he quit, of course he did. What blew my mind was how fast the family shifted gears to protect him. Mom, they didn't respect him. My sister said some BS like they probably treated him bad because of how he looks. You know, some jobs just aren't worth it. He was overqualified anyway. Overqualified for stacking cones. I stayed quiet, just sat there listening to them spin the whole thing like it was a noble decision. Like quitting on day two made him some kind of martyr for workplace injustice. And just like that, it was like the job never existed. The fake GED they didn't make, the shady answers, the training week, it all vanished from their memory. One minute he was working, the next minute they were back to talking about what he might do next. No accountability, no reflection. That night I went to grab something off the family computer. I needed a file for a side project I was doing. Just normal stuff. And while I was digging through the download folders, something caught my eye, a file named GED Final Real US PDF. No caps, no effort, classic lazy sister labeling. I didn't open it. Not yet. I just stared at the name. Part of me didn't want to know because I had a weird feeling crawling up my spine, like when you forget if you left the stove on, but somehow you already know you did. I closed the folder, went to my room, put on my headphones, but the buzzing came back. Something wasn't right. I didn't make that GED. I didn't give them my file. I didn't teach them anything. So, how did they get something good enough to pass? I laid there staring at the ceiling, thinking about one small detail I'd forgotten. When I printed my GED for myself at home, I never checked the tray afterward. I'd been distracted, angry, probably left it sitting there for hours. And if they found it, they wouldn't need my help anymore. They'd already have the perfect template. That buzzing got louder, but I didn't check the file that night. I went to sleep pretending it didn't exist. You ever try to ignore a smoke alarm that's not quite loud enough to demand your attention but just persistent enough to ruin your peace? That was me. I kept tossing and turning, thinking about that file name. GED Final Real Use PDF, real subtle. The next morning I didn't even brush my teeth before sitting down at the family computer. No headphones, no distractions, just me, the file, and the growing pit in my stomach. I opened it, and there it was, my GED, but not. It was like looking at my own face with someone else's name taped over it. The layout exactly the same, the font the same, the state seal still slightly pixelated from the scan I did weeks ago, the issue date my date, serial number mine. Even the bottom right watermark had a tiny smudge, the same one that was on my original certificate. Only thing changed, the name, his name, my brother's. I sat back in the chair staring at it. I didn't move, didn't blink, just processed what they did. They didn't find a template online, they didn't create their own from scratch. They waited for me to mess up, to be distracted, to leave something out. And when I did, when I forgot to clear the printer tray weeks ago, they swooped in, scanned my real GED, and butchered it into a knockoff for the Golden Boy. And then they laminated it, took it to an actual job interview, lied to an employer, let him get hired, let him quit, and all of that was based on my work, my name, my effort, the thing I earned while they mocked me for doing too much. I printed a copy of the fake, didn't touch the original file, just printed one, folded it, and walked to the kitchen where my mom was sitting like she had no sins. I dropped it in front of her. She glanced at it, blinked twice, then looked back at her phone like I'd handed her an empty receipt. "Where'd you get that?" she asked, like it wasn't already obvious. "I told your sister not to keep files like that," she added. Still no apology, no shame, just annoyance that they got caught. "You used my GED," I finally said. "It's not like you weren't using it," she said. "He needed it more than you did. He was working." "He wasn't working," I snapped. "He quit after 2 days. Like always, Mom rolled her eyes. "You're so dramatic." That word again. "You didn't want to help," she said, "so we had to do it another way." Another way would have been leaving me out of it. You left it on the printer. It's not like we broke into your stuff. I nearly laughed, so now I'm at fault because I trusted the house not to steal from me. Got it. I left the room before I said something that would end with me kicked out, or worse. Not because I was afraid, but because I needed a minute to think. Back in my room, I stared at the copy, my serial number, my seal, my date. If they use this to get him a job, what happens if it gets flagged? What if someone checks it? What if they call me? What if my name ends up on some internal HR list as the guy who forged documents for a loser brother? I couldn't let that happen. So I did something they'd never expect. I exposed them. That night, after everyone was asleep, I logged onto the library Wi-Fi using my old account, created a brand new burner Gmail, no name, no links to me, sent an anonymous email to the airport's HR department. Subject: falsified GED certificate, immediate attention needed. Body: this document was submitted by Ethan during his onboarding process. It is a fraudulent certificate based on an official GED that belongs to someone else. Serial number and issue date match a legitimate document not issued to the applicant. Attached is the copy he submitted. I suggest verifying the authenticity before further employment is considered. Concerned source: I attached the forged GED. That was it. No dramatics, no long report. Then I sent another to the GED testing service with the same note. Flagged the serial number. Reported the misuse. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't threaten them. I didn't brag. I just did it because if they were going to use me, twist my work, and treat me like a disposable prop in the Golden Boy redemption arc, then I was done staying quiet. 2 days later, the emails came in. The airport HR sent a formal message saying they had flagged the certificate and would be investigating. They thanked me for bringing this to their attention. The GED testing service didn't respond, but I saw a login alert from their verification portal. Someone ran a check. The fallout started small. Brother got a call he didn't expect. Mom was yelling in the other room later that day, something about documents not matching and just a mistake. Then came the second storm. HR asked for clarification, proof, originals, backup records. Golden Boy panicked. Told them it must have been a mix-up. Said he got his GED online and didn't remember how the certificate looked. They asked for verification directly from the GED testing service, which obviously he didn't have. He told my mom and she flipped. Said someone must have reported it. Asked my sisters who they told. They all denied it. I just sat in the corner playing dumb like I didn't know anything, just nodding along. Crazy, right? I said when she walked past. Then they asked me, "You didn't say anything, did you?" "Nope," I said, locking eyes. "Why would I?" She stared at me for a second too long but didn't press it. Golden Boy didn't say a word to me for the rest of the day, not even a grunt. He looked scared, almost like he was waiting for more. And honestly, he should be, because that's when I realized they don't just walk all over me because they can. They do it because I let them think I wouldn't fight back. Now they weren't so sure. That night, I packed my GED into a new folder, put it in my backpack, and wrote one sentence in my notes app. No more warnings. They mess around, I mess back. Let them think I'm weak, let them think I'm quiet. But from now on, if they come for me again, I'll expose everything. Turns out, I didn't even have to. The fire was already lit. Over the next few days, the airport stopped returning calls. Then my brother's name got flagged in their system, and whatever chance he thought he had at holding a job vanished, completely. They didn't even give him a formal notice, just locked his profile and said, "We're going in another direction." That direction was away from frauds. The house went into chaos. My mom went into full meltdown mode, not because of what they did, but because it didn't work. She wasn't mad at the lie, she was mad the lie got caught. That says everything you need to know about how things operate around here. It's not fair, she kept saying. They just didn't want to see him succeed. Succeed at what? Lying? Quitting 2 days in? Making a career out of excuses? The sisters weren't any better. One of them actually blamed me, not directly, but in that fake sugar-coated way, if you had just helped us earlier, none of this would have been necessary. Yeah, that's like blaming the fire extinguisher for the fire. They all danced around it, trying to find someone else to blame. Never themselves, never Golden Boy, and especially never the fact that they used my GED without asking, then fumbled the scam and still tried to act like I was the selfish one. That's when I knew I was done. No more staying quiet, no more sleeping with one eye open wondering what they'll take next, no more fake family meetings pretending we're something we're not. I was out. I texted my aunt that afternoon. She's my mom's sister, but the two haven't spoken in years because, in her words, your mom likes drama more than peace. I hadn't talked to her in months. But when I explained everything, she responded in 2 minutes. When can you come? I didn't even hesitate tomorrow. I didn't need much, just my clothes, my GED, and my sanity. Packed it all in one duffel bag, didn't even bother hiding it. If they were going to throw a fit, I wanted them to see it. I wanted them to know I was leaving because of them. When my mom saw the bag, she gave me this look like I'd just told her I was defecting to a rival team. You're seriously leaving? Yep. To live with her? Yep. You don't even know what you're doing. Maybe, but at least I won't be doing it here. She didn't argue much after that. I think even she knew there wasn't anything left to say. The trust was gone. Respect never existed to begin with. I was just another tool in the house, and once I refused to play along, I stopped being useful. That night none of them talked to me. Good. Next morning I walked out. No tears, no fake hugs, no we'll miss you, just silence, which was perfect. My aunt picked me up in this beat-up blue SUV, no music, no questions. She just said, "You good?" And I nodded. That was it. That was more respect than I'd gotten from my entire family in the last year. We drove for a while, windows down, air loud. She didn't ask about the drama. I think she already knew. That's what made it easy. Now I sleep in a quiet room. It's small, but it's mine. I make my own food, handle my own schedule, and I don't wake up wondering what guilt trip I'm going to get hit with before noon. The GED is still zipped in my backpack, untouched, still mine. The best part, I don't owe anyone anything.